Y'all, grab your popcorn, because what just dropped on Love and Hip Hop, Atlanta. Season 13 is the kind of jaw-dropping drama you thought only existed in scripted soap operas. Sierra Gates, the bossed-up beauty mogul we've watched slay businesses and bounce back from heartbreaks, just unleashed a bombshell that nobody saw coming. And it has everything to do with her own mother, Kim. Yes, you heard that right. Sierra has finally broken her silence after years of sidestepping questions, dodging deep conversations, and keeping certain chapters of her life sealed tight. But baby, on the latest episode, she didn't just open the book. She ripped the whole damn cover off and started reading line by line. In a moment so tense it made even the cameras shake, Sierra called out her mother in front of the entire cast. And the truth that came out? Dark, twisted, unthinkable. It wasn't just shade, it was lightning. Fans are in absolute shock as Sierra revealed a truth so personal and so painful, it's left the entire Love and Hip Hop community completely divided. Some are standing with Sierra, praising her bravery for finally speaking up. Others? Well, let's just say Kim isn't going down without a fight. And you know the streets of Atlanta don't keep secrets for long. Was it emotional abuse? Long-buried betrayal? Or something far more scandalous than anyone could have guessed? Whatever it was, it's clear this family has been walking on a tightrope for years, and now it's snapping in full view of millions. The confrontation wasn't just explosive, it cracked the entire season wide open. Emotions ran high, cast members were left speechless, and even the producers had to step in when things got too real. And the internet? Oh honey, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok are lit up with theories, reactions, and a whole lot of tea. So if you thought you knew Sierra's story, think again. Because this revelation is rewriting everything. Stay tuned, because we're about to break down every tear, every scream, every accusation, and every damn detail that led to this wild mother-daughter showdown. Trust us, you are not ready for what Sierra just exposed. Let's get into it. It all started one humid Atlanta afternoon, just after the cameras started rolling for what everyone assumed would be a routine cast get-together at Sierra's beauty bar. There were mimosas, full glam, and that classic LHHATL tension bubbling under the surface. But what no one expected was the emotional wildfire Sierra was about to light. While chatting casually with Bambi and Erica, Sierra suddenly got quiet. Her eyes drifted to the floor and the air in the room changed. "I gotta say something," she whispered, barely holding her composure. Everyone leaned in, expecting a light confession or maybe some drama with her latest boo. But then came the words that cracked the whole day wide open. "I'm tired of pretending like my childhood was okay. Y'all want to know the truth? My mama ruined my life. And I'm done covering for her." Dead silence. Even the makeup. Brushes froze in mid-air. Bambi blinked. Erica's lips parted in slow disbelief. The crew looked at each other, unsure whether to keep filming, but Sierra kept going. Her voice shook but stayed steady enough to slice through the tension. "Kim, my own mother, she didn't protect me. She let men walk in and out of our lives. I was 11 years old when I started raising myself. And the worst part? She made me feel like it was all my fault." Sierra's eyes welled up, but she didn't wipe the tears away. She was in it now. All the pain, all the suppressed rage, it was boiling over. She wasn't some strong, struggling single mom. She was selfish. She chose her men over me. Over and over and over again. And just like that, the floodgates opened. The cast was stunned, but Sierra was finally speaking on what fans had long speculated. There had always been whispers about Sierra's guarded nature, her need for control, her hustle over everything mindset. But now it was making sense. She didn't just grow up fast. She was forced to grow up before she even had a chance to be a kid. "I remember once," she said, her voice catching. "I got sick. Real sick. I had this fever. I couldn't move. And Kim? She was out with some guy. I laid on that floor for hours until the neighbor found me. That woman ain't call, ain't check. She ain't even come home that night." Erica gasped. "Sierra, I Didn't know it was that bad. But Sierra nodded. It was worse than that. Y'all don't know the half. That's when Bambi, holding back tears of her own, reached for her. Why you never told us? She asked. Sierra looked straight into the camera. Because I didn't want to be that girl who blamed her mom. But now I realize this pain I carry, it's hers. She gave it to me like a gift, and I've been dragging it around ever since. The tension was unbearable. Off camera, whispers started among producers. Should we call Kim? Should we warn her? But Sierra beat them to it. She pulled out her phone. Y'all think I won't call her right now? Let's see if she want to lie to my face. And before anyone could stop her, she hit that green button. The ring echoed in the quiet room. 1 ring, 2 rings. Then Kim picked up, her voice chipper and oblivious. Hey, baby! Sierra didn't waste a second. Why are you acting like everything was okay when I was growing up? Why you keep telling people you was a good mom when you know what you did? Kim paused. What you talking about, Sierra? Her voice was calm, maybe too calm. Sierra laughed bitterly. Don't play dumb. I'm filming right now. Tell the truth. Did you leave me alone that night when I was sick? Or was I hallucinating at 11 years old? Kim's tone shifted, defensive. Sierra, I did the best I could. You don't understand how hard it was. But Sierra cut her off. You did the bare minimum. No, scratch that. You didn't even do that. I raised myself while you chased after every man who looked your way. At this point, the tension had gone nuclear. The crew backed up. The phone was on speaker and Sierra's hands were trembling. Kim's voice hardened. You ungrateful little girl. After everything I sacrificed. What did you sacrifice? Sierra screamed. Your weekends? Your dates? You didn't sacrifice for me. You sacrificed me. Kim hung up. Just like that. The screen went black. The silence afterward was deafening. Sierra sat there, shaking, while everyone around her tried to process what they had just witnessed. I guess that tells y'all everything, she whispered. She hung up instead of owning her mess. Erica, tears brimming in her eyes, moved to Sierra and hugged her tight. You're not that little girl anymore, she said softly. You broke the cycle just by speaking up. But the damage was done. The room was thick with emotions, and nobody quite knew how to move forward. But Sierra did. She wiped her. Tears stood up and looked dead into the camera again. Y'all wanted real? There it is. And I ain't done yet. 'Cause if I don't tell this story, she's gonna keep rewriting it. And that's when the producer's voice came through. The mic. Sierra, she's on her way. Everybody froze. Wait, who? Bambi asked. The producer looked hesitant. Kim, she's coming here, right now. A gasp rippled through the set. Sierra clenched her jaw. Good, she said. Let's settle this, face to face. The stage was set, the cameras were rolling, and the family reckoning the fans never thought they'd see was about to explode in real time. The door hadn't even fully closed behind the producer when the tension surged to a whole new level. Sierra stood frozen, her arms crossed tight against her chest as if physically bracing herself for the emotional hurricane she knew was on its way. The room buzzed with nervous energy, cast and crew whispering, glancing toward the entrance like a scene from a psychological thriller. And then, just like that, Kim walked in. Bold, confident, like nothing had happened 5 minutes ago. Her red heels clicked against the tile, her expression unreadable. Y'all really gonna put me on blast like this? She said, eyes locking, with her daughters across the room. But Sierra didn't flinch. She didn't blink. This was the confrontation she had been holding inside for over 2 decades. I didn't put you on blast, Sierra replied coldly. You did that all by yourself. I just gave people the truth you never wanted them to hear. Kim's lips twitched, somewhere between a smirk and a snarl. Girl, don't act like you were some orphan living in the streets. You had a roof over your head, clothes, food. You wasn't homeless. That's the bare minimum, Kim, Sierra shot back. I needed a mother. Not a babysitter who popped in between boyfriends and hangovers. Gasps echoed from the glam squad in the corner. Bambi muttered, "Damn," under her breath. Kim's face flushed deep crimson, and for a moment her mask cracked. "You really out here trying to ruin my name for a storyline?" she barked. Sierra stepped forward, voice shaking but firm. "You ruined your own name when you chose drama? You think it's dramatic to cry yourself to sleep because your mom's too busy getting high with some random dude to notice you haven't eaten in 2 days?" The words hit harder than any physical blow. Kim's expression crumbled for a split second before she slapped her composure back on. "I wasn't perfect," she mumbled, "but I was there." "No, you weren't," Sierra screamed. "You were a ghost in my life. I learned how to do my own hair because you were gone. I walked myself to school at 6 years old because you were out clubbing. I took care of you, Kim." The silence that followed was suffocating. Then, unexpectedly, Kim laughed. But it wasn't joyful. It was bitter, broken, like the only thing left in her was denial. "So what now? You want applause for surviving? You want me to get on my knees and say I'm sorry? Girl, you act like you ain't got skeletons too." If that's when the real twist dropped. "You want to talk skeletons?" Sierra asked, voice chilling. "Let's talk about Uncle Leon. Or did you think I forgot?" The room went ice cold. Kim's face paled. Her lips parted, but no sound came out. Bambi's hand flew to her mouth. "Oh my God," she whispered. Erica's eyes widened. "Wait, what about Uncle Leon?" Sierra didn't blink. "He touched me. You knew. And you did nothing." That was the breaking point. The entire set descended into chaos. Crew members looked away, some tearing up. Bambi stepped between Sierra and Kim like a human shield. "That can't be real," she whispered, barely audible. "Tell me that's not real." Kim's entire body seemed to deflate, like the guilt had been holding her up all this time. I didn't know what to do," she stammered. "You were lying all the time." "I was a child," Sierra cried. "I lied about stupid stuff, but not that. And you knew it. You knew, and you let him come back in our house. You told me to be quiet. You told me to forget it." Kim dropped her purse and stumbled back into a chair, finally, speechless. "I was scared," she whispered. "I was scared to lose everything." "And I lost me," Sierra said quietly. "I lost myself for years trying to forgive you. But now, I forgive me for believing you'd ever change." The cast was in tears. Erica hugged Sierra again. Even Carly Red, known for stirring the Yaz eye pot, was seen wiping tears away. "I had no idea," she whispered. None of us did. The crew cut the cameras temporarily. It was too raw, too real. But Sierra didn't stop. She kept speaking even when the mics were off. "You know what's wild?" she said to Kim. "I kept looking for love in men who treated me like trash. I sabotaged relationships. I clung to pain. Because of you. You programmed me to think that love was supposed to hurt, that it was normal to beg for attention." Kim couldn't meet her daughter's eyes. "I don't know how to fix this," she said. "You don't," Sierra answered. "You can't, but you can own it. Right here, right now." The room held its breath. Kim wiped her eyes and looked into the camera. "I was a bad mother," she said slowly. "I didn't protect Sierra. I didn't believe her when it mattered, and I've lived with that guilt every day." The words hung in the air like heavy smoke. It wasn't enough. It would never be enough. But it was something. A crack in the wall she'd spent decades building. And for the first time, Sierra exhaled. Not with peace, but with release. The scene wrapped with the two women sitting across from each other in absolute silence. Not forgiveness, not reconciliation, just truth. Raw and bleeding, laid out for the world to see. And even though the crew had long since stopped directing, the cameras kept rolling. Because this was real. And reality TV had never felt more real than this. When filming resumed later that evening, the atmosphere on set had transformed entirely. The glam squad was gone, the lighting dimmer, and the usual gossip between cast members replaced by a haunting quiet. The energy was different now, heavier, deeper. Sierra sat alone in her beauty bar, eyes swollen, sipping slowly from a water bottle, not saying a word. The camera crept in gently, capturing her in a rare moment of complete vulnerability. When a producer softly asked, "Do you want to stop for today?" Sierra shook her head. "Nah," she whispered. "If I stop now, I'll never finish. This ain't just my story anymore. This is for every girl who kept her mouth shut because no one believed her." And with that, she straightened her spine and asked, "Is Kim still here?" Surprisingly, Kim was still in the back room, alone, pacing and fidgeting with her hands like someone on trial waiting for the jury's verdict. When she re-entered the main room, Sierra didn't rise. She just stared at her mother like she was looking through her, trying to decide if anything real still existed between them. Kim broke the silence first. "I didn't think you'd actually go there." Her voice was trembling, different now, shrunken. "Why not?" Sierra said, steady. "You went there when you told me I made it up, when you told me to hush. That night you looked me in the eyes and said, 'Don't ruin the family.' I died a little inside." Kim crumbled into the nearest chair. "I was scared," she repeated again, as if it were the only language she knew. "I was raised by silence. My mama never believed me either. I thought if I pretended it didn't happen, it would go away." Sierra leaned in, voice raw. "But I wasn't raised by silence. I was raised by pain." That line hit Kim like a ton of bricks. You could feel it. And for a moment, there was no TV show, no scene, just two broken women staring at the shattered glass of their past. Kim reached out, her hand trembling, but Sierra didn't move. "Don't touch me," she whispered. "Not yet. Not until you really see me." Kim pulled her hand back. "Then tell me what you need me to see." Sierra inhaled, fighting back another wave of tears. "I need you to see the girl who stood outside in the rain waiting for you to pick her up. And you never came. The girl who had to lie to teachers about bruises she didn't give herself. The girl who watched her mother laugh with the man who stole her innocence." Kim broke down completely at that point, sobbing uncontrollably. Makeup smeared, clutching tissues in both hands. "I can't go back," she cried. "I can't fix it." "But you can stop pretending it didn't happen," Sierra said. "You can stop gaslighting me every damn time I bring it up. You can stop rewriting the past to make yourself look better. I need that. Not fake apologies, not Instagram posts. Talking about being blessed and unbothered, like you ain't got bodies buried under your smile." Kim nodded through the tears. "Okay," she whispered. "Okay. I'll stop." Then, in a twist no one saw coming, not even the producers, Kim asked the crew to leave. "No cameras," she said. "Please, just for 10 minutes. I need to talk to my daughter, not America." Shocked, the producers hesitated, but Sierra nodded. "Give us a minute," she said. And for the first time in Love and Hip Hop history, the cameras cut during the most pivotal moment of the season. When they returned, Sierra was sitting with her eyes closed, breathing slowly like she'd just run a marathon. Kim had left the room. No one knew what was said during those 10 minutes, and Sierra didn't volunteer the details. All she said was, "She finally told me the truth, and I believe her. But that doesn't mean we're okay." Later, during a cast dinner, the fallout rippled through the group. Rasheeda leaned in, whispering to Erica, "Girl, this is deeper than anything we've ever aired." Spice nodded in agreement. "You never know what people carry with them," she said. Sierra been a boss, but now I understand why she moves the way she does. Scrappy, who had been quietly watching the footage replay on a monitor, finally spoke up. "Man, we all grew up with some level of trauma, but what Sierra lived through, that's some next-level generational curse breaking right there." Even Carly Red, usually quick to stir drama, got emotional. "It's made me want to call my own mama and have a real talk," she said. "Maybe it's time for all of us to stop pretending we got it all together." Sierra entered the dinner late, still in her sweats, no makeup, just raw and real. The room erupted in hugs, support, and applause, not for drama, but for truth. She stood there for a moment, letting it all sink in. "I didn't do this for attention," she said. "I did this because I'm done being silent. I'm done protecting people who didn't protect me. And I'm done hiding from the parts of me that still hurt." Everyone raised their glasses. "To Sierra," said Rasheeda. "To healing," added Bambi. "To freedom," whispered Spice. But just when you thought the storm had passed, another twist. Backstage footage caught Kim alone in her car, mic still hot, speaking into the void. "I told her most of the truth," she said, "but I still left something out. Something she can never know." Fade to black. Cliffhanger. And just like that, the internet went into full meltdown. What did Kim hide? Why did she say that off camera? Is the story still not over? Fans flooded the comments with theories, emotions, and desperate pleas for answers. And Sierra? She posted one cryptic tweet that night. The truth always comes out, eventually. The following day, social media exploded like fireworks. Sierra Speaks Out was trending #1 on Twitter. Instagram blogs, gossip, pages, fan accounts, everyone had their own theories. What else did Kim hide? Was there another family member involved? Did Sierra already know what Kim left out? The comment sections were war zones. Some fans praised Sierra's bravery, calling her a cycle breaker and a symbol of strength. Others accused her of exploiting trauma for ratings, defending Kim and claiming she was doing her best. But one thing was undeniable. Everyone was talking, and Sierra was now the emotional center of Love and Hip Hop. Atlanta Season 13. VH1 quickly capitalized on the chaos, announcing a surprise bonus episode titled The Secret She Didn't Tell. The teaser showed Sierra sitting alone again, this time in a confessional. Her voiceover played over slow-motion shots of her walking through a park. "After everything I said, I still don't feel peace. Something's not adding up." Then came a clip of Kim's backstage audio. "I still left something out. Something she can never know." Cut to black. Fans lost it. Theories poured in. Was Kim not Sierra's real mother? Was Leon not her uncle? Did Kim know about other predators in the family? Or was there something even darker? The bonus episode began in full drama mode. The producers brought Sierra back into a studio setting and asked her directly, "Do you believe your mom told you the full truth?" Sierra didn't hesitate. "No, I think she told me what she thought I could handle. But my gut says there's more." The producer leaned in. "Would you be willing to take a DNA test to rule out any bigger secrets?" Sierra's face went pale. "You mean like, if she's not really my mom?" The question hung in the air like poison. "Or if there's someone else involved, maybe another man. Maybe your father wasn't who she said he was." Sierra agreed, albeit hesitantly, and the cameras followed her through the process of submitting the test. Days later, she got a call from the producers. "We have your results. Are you ready?" She nodded. "Tell me." The voice on the other end was clinical, too calm. "Your mother, Kim, is genetically your biological mother. But Leon was not just your uncle." Sierra blinked. "What do you mean?" The producer swallowed hard. "We ran multiple cross-checks. Based on the DNA, Leon is your biological father." The world seemed to stop in that moment. The camera zoomed in on Sierra's face as her soul shattered. "No," she whispered. "No, no, no." Everything clicked. The silence, the guilt, the cover-ups, the betrayal, Kim's refusal to address the past fully. It wasn't just a matter of ignoring the abuse, it was something far more twisted. "She knew," Sierra whispered. "She knew. That's why she told me to shut up. That's why she never left him. That's why she let him come back. Because if I told the truth, the whole truth, it wouldn't just destroy him. It would destroy her too." She collapsed into tears. "My own mother let me be abused by the man who fathered me. She didn't protect me, because protecting me meant exposing herself." Backstage, producers were in shock. Even the most seasoned cast members didn't know how to react. Erica refused to comment. Rasheeda left filming early. Carly was seen crying in a hallway saying, "That's beyond anything we've ever aired." And Kim? She stopped answering calls. Her home was empty. No one knew where she'd gone. Fans speculated that she had fled the city entirely. Others believed she was waiting for things to die down before returning. But Sierra was done, waiting. At the reunion taping, she walked onto that stage in silence, her usual glam replaced with something simpler, rawer. Host Nina Parker gently opened the conversation. "Sierra, we've all been watching this season unfold, and I have to say, we're heartbroken for you." Sierra nodded slowly. "I've lived with this nightmare for over 20 years. I finally said it out loud. And now I have the last piece, but it's not closure. It's a wound that never scabbed, and now it's wide open." The audience was dead silent. No gasps, no claps, just respectful grief. Then Nina dropped the bomb. "Kim has agreed to appear, but she'll only speak to you, Sierra. Not the cast, not the audience, just you." Gasps. "Do you want that?" Sierra's face went still. "Yes," she said. "One last time." Kim walked onto the stage slowly, dressed in black. No makeup, no wig, just her, stripped of the persona she had carefully built over the years. She sat across from Sierra and whispered, "I never wanted you to find out like this." "You should have told me years ago," Sierra replied, voice icy. "I didn't have the courage," Kim said. "I knew if I told the full truth, I'd lose you forever." Sierra nodded slowly. "And you did anyway." Kim broke down. "I was 15 when it happened. Leon was older. My mom covered it up, made me lie. Said if I told the truth, they'd take me away. I convinced myself you'd be okay, that if I could keep it buried, we could both survive." Sierra's hands were shaking. "You buried me along with that secret," she snapped. "You buried my innocence, my childhood, my sanity, just to protect a lie." Kim whispered, "I thought I was protecting you." Sierra stood up. "You were protecting yourself, and now you have to live with that." The room stayed silent for an excruciating 30 seconds. Then Sierra turned to the camera and said, "This isn't a redemption arc. This isn't forgiveness. This is survival. I've survived you, Kim, and I'll survive everything else too." The audience rose to their feet, not with cheers, but with solemn support. Applause broke out slowly, echoing like thunder through the studio. As Sierra walked off the stage, Kim reached out and touched her arm for one final time. Sierra paused, looked down at the hand, then walked away without a word. Outside the studio, night had fallen. The streets of Atlanta buzzed with life, but for Sierra, everything moved in slow motion. Paparazzi waited near the exit, but she didn't stop to pose. No forced smile, no glam wave, just a woman walking away from the darkest chapter of her life, one silent step at a time. The cameras caught her from behind, framed by the orange glow of streetlights and the reflection of her own image in the glass windows she passed. She wasn't crying, not anymore. There were no tears left to shed, only the quiet aftermath of truth, raw and unfiltered. Meanwhile, the reaction online reached a fever pitch. Blogs like The Shade Room and Hollywood Unlocked dropped exclusive, behind-the-scenes shots. Fans launched hashtags like Sire Justice for Sierra and Protect Black Girls. Even major celebrities began weighing in. Taraji P. Henson reposted a clip of Sierra's reunion walk-off, adding, "Breaking cycles in public takes the kind of strength most people can't imagine." Kerry Washington tweeted, "This is courage." Mental health advocates started conversations across TikTok analyzing Sierra's story as a reflection of intergenerational trauma in Black families. But buried in the applause was something even deeper: solidarity. Thousands of women began sharing their own stories in the comments, stories they had never told anyone before. The producers of Love and Hip Hop quickly scheduled a follow-up special, Sierra, after the revelation. But this time it wasn't about drama, it was about healing. The episode opened with Sierra in therapy, cameras respectfully pulled back, capturing only snippets of her voice. I thought telling the truth would set me free. But it's not freedom, it's war. Every day I wake up fighting to not become the woman who hurt me. Her therapist nodded, calmly guiding her through the layers of trauma. You took your first step. Now the rest is about building something new, on your own terms. And Sierra was building. Slowly, quietly. She had started journaling again, reconnected with a cousin she hadn't spoken to in over a decade, someone who also confessed to being hurt by Leon and silenced by the family. Sierra had found an army, in the very people her family tried to forget. And through it all, she kept filming. Not for fame, not for followers, but for the millions of girls who hadn't yet found the words to say, "It happened to me too." In one powerful scene from the special, Sierra visited a shelter for young survivors of abuse. She sat in a circle, no makeup, no filters, just her soul. One young girl asked, "Does it ever stop hurting?" Sierra smiled gently. The hurt changes. It doesn't go away. But one day, it stops controlling you. Meanwhile, Kim had vanished from the public eye. Paparazzi caught glimpses of her in Alabama, staying with a distant cousin. Rumors swirled that she was seeking inpatient treatment for trauma and guilt. VH1 didn't comment. Neither did Kim. But in a shocking twist, a handwritten letter surfaced on Sierra's doorstep. No return address, no signature, just a stack of notebook paper in familiar cursive. It read, "I know I lost you. I know I don't deserve to call you my daughter anymore. But I hope one day you'll understand the monster I became was born from monsters before me. You were the light in a very dark place. I didn't protect it. I tried to bottle it. You broke free. That's what survivors do. You survive. Even when mothers fail." Sierra didn't respond publicly. But in her next confessional, she stared into the camera and said, "Forgiveness isn't a gift I owe anyone. It's a process I give myself piece by piece until I can breathe again." Her eyes shimmered, not with tears, but with resilience. Fans flooded her page with love, but Sierra didn't engage much. She was busy living, rebuilding. She opened a new wing in her salon focused on mental wellness, a place where stylists and clients could talk openly, break stigma, and offer resources for therapy and support. She named it the Healing Chair. And then came the final twist. The one that left everyone stunned. A voicemail from an unknown number appeared on her phone weeks after the reunion. "Sierra, this is Leon." The message was brief, calm, chilling. "I know you know now, and I know I can never make it right. But I want to talk. I want to tell you everything, if you're ready." Her hands trembled as she replayed it. The producers asked if she'd be willing to meet him on camera. She looked at them, heart racing. "No," she said firmly. "I don't need anything from that man. Not his words, not his pain, not his guilt. I have my truth now. And that's all I ever needed." The final episode of Sierra. After the revelation ended not with drama, but with silence. A still shot of her closing the doors to her beauty bar, locking them gently, turning to face the rising sun as birds sang in the distance. No background music, no edits, just a woman who had turned her pain into purpose and her silence into strength. The credits rolled over the words, "To every woman who was never believed, we see you, we believe you, we stand with you." And in the last scene, Sierra's voice echoed, "This ain't the end of my story. It's the beginning of my freedom." Whew, if your heart is still pounding, you're not alone. Sierra Gates's emotional roller coaster on Love and Hip Hop. Atlanta Season 13 didn't just shake the cast, it shattered the fourth wall of reality TV. What began as a daughter speaking her truth became a national conversation about trauma, silence, betrayal, and survival. Sierra didn't just confront her past. She exposed the generational wounds so many families bury and pretend never happened. From public confrontations to private confessions, she showed the world that healing isn't A destination, it's a fight, and sometimes it's a lonely one. But Sierra walked through the fire in front of millions and came out with her dignity intact, her voice stronger than ever. And yet, the biggest question still lingers. What else lies buried beneath the layers of this family's painful past? Will Kim ever return to face the public? Will Leon be held accountable in any way? Is there more to the story than even Sierra knows? Only time will tell. But one thing is certain. This season changed everything. Not just for Sierra, not just for LHHATL, but for every viewer who finally saw a piece of their own story reflected on that screen. Now we want to hear your voice. What did you think of Sierra's journey this season? Do you believe Kim's apology was real or just damage control? Should Sierra ever speak to Leon? And what do you think about how VH1 handled the trauma on screen? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Don't hold back. Hit that like button if you stand with survivors, and make sure to subscribe because, baby, this season ain't over. And the next twist might be even bigger. Until next time, stay woke, stay safe, and keep the conversation going. Because silence is no longer an option.